Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRFBets race of the day for Thursday, May the 2nd, race number 8 at Belmont Park. We're going 7 furlongs, high level, optional claiming race for older horses. Bet this race with a DRFBets account. Pick one horse, bet $7 to win on that horse with DRFBets. And if your selection runs second or third, you get your money back. Learn more promos.drf.com. Let's meet the field for Thursday's race of the day. You can access free formulator past performances on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, beginning with the number 1, Backside of the Moon, one of several horses in this race, turning back in distance, hoping for a little bit of a wake up.
Yeah, I mean, he really does need a wake-up call, too. I sort of feel like, he's one of those horses. He has plenty of back races, Dan, that would make him really tough in here. I just feel like last year as a 6-year-old, he lost a step. He didn't seem like the same horse. They don't sprint him very often. The last time they sprinted him, I think, was back in 2016, and that felt like it was clearly a prep race off of a layoff. I wonder if they're just using this race to stretch him out again in his next start.
Now, the number 2, Sir Ballantine, has really found himself as a sprinter for Danny Gargan. They cut him back in distance successfully to this 7/8 of a mile, 2 starts back. Thought he got a nice setup that day. There was some pace in front of him, and he came roaring home. Off that race, Gargan got very aggressive, and he ran him in the Carter. He was just A, overmatched, and B, when Grade 1 horses like that don't go fast, horses like Sir Ballantine, they just can't make up that kind of ground.
Yeah, if you're going to take a shot in a Grade 1 with a horse like him, you're obviously hoping that the real fast sprinters show up and they throw some gas in front of you. You can come running and maybe pick up a piece. That didn't happen. This horse just got outrun from the start, and he was never involved. But as you say, his win 2 back at this distance, that was a pretty nice performance. He caught some pace in front of him. He came with a big run, and I like the way that he finished that race off. That was a nice win for this horse. I like basically all of his races for Gargan. 7 to 8 furlongs around 1 turn. He's run well in those races. This is the source of game.
But as you mentioned, the key for Sir Ballantine is always pace. And as we see from the Timeform US Pace Projector, we've got a blue bar scenario, which favors horses on or near the early lead. And we see the 2, Sir Ballantine, at the back of the pack. Maybe he'll be up against it. One of the horses vying for the leads, the 3, California Night. I can understand anybody that says he's a little bit cheap. He's been beaten for a condition claiming tag in New York as soon as last fall. But 2 starts back, he won at Parks. I thought he did so nicely over a couple of next out winners around 2 turn. And last time out in the Stymie, going a 1-turn mile, he just never got a breather on the front end. He was pushed by 2-3 other horses. I thought he fought in there pretty gamely till very late. Title Ready came back to run 3rd in the Steve Sexton mile with a 91 buyer. So I like the class relief. I like this pace projector. I think Kendrick Carmouche, who is a very aggressive gate rider, can get to the front with California Night, and at a price, maybe he can be there at the end.
Yeah, I think that's all those things are true, Dan. We'll see what happens. I think it would be key for him to be able to get to the front and not take too much pressure in this race, but I think that's a possibility. And I agree with your take on his Stymie, too. I thought he ran deceptively well in that race. And it's just worth noting, yeah, he's been running in some restricted claiming races lately, but he started out his career like he was going to be okay for Maker. They ran him in a bunch of stakes races. They had high hopes for this horse. He lost his way a little bit, lately. He's been back in form. He's run some good races lately.
Bon Raison is the number 4, and Bon Raison's coming off 2 wide open victories. He won by open lengths in both the Peeping Tom and that optional claiming event last time out with a 96 buyer speed figure. Now, Timeform US has him as one of the 2 primary pace setters, but he's been so comfortable sitting off the pace in his last 2 races. I don't think Carlos Martin's going to tinker. I think he's going to be very happy to let California Night go. I think he's going to be very happy to let Hit It Once More go. I think he'll be very happy if Bon Raison is sitting 3rd and 4th in a comfortable stalking spot. You can argue he's the one to beat.
Yeah, all those things are true. And I mean, it's nice to know anyway that he has that versatility because, his first start for these connections, he ran a 99 buyer on the lead, but he also rode a cold rail that day. That performance is a little dressed up. His next start after that, when Sir Ballantine ran him down, they just gunned him to the lead in there. I thought he went too fast. The Tom Fool, you don't worry about that race. The last 2 races, the Peeping Tom, I don't know if they decided to rate him that day, Dan. That was a really fast pace in that race. They just sort of got away from him. But last time, you could just see Eric Hansel take him back. This horse broke sharply in that race. They took him back off the pace. They didn't want to be near the lead, and he ran really well. I'm with you. I think they tracked the pace this time.
Holiday Bonus, the 5, cuts back a 1/4 of a mile. Won his career debut sprinting on August the 7th, 2016, and it's now been 25 starts going long, whether it be turf or on dirt. Back to the sprint ranks for Holiday Bonus, who might just get outrun a little bit early, but he's getting deserved class relief.
Yeah, I mean, he is. This isn't an easy spot for him, though. I mean, he's dropping out of stakes races, but there are a couple of horses in here who could make things tough for him. When he got rained off to the dirt at the end of last year, he pulled off a big upset and ran a relatively fast race. That wasn't that surprising. He had run okay on dirt before, but cutting back to this distance off of his last 3 races, which are they just aren't that good. He has to really turn things around.
The 6 hit it once more, has not sprinted since November of 2015. He is 0 for 5 lifetime sprinting, but he's been a very nice middle distance horse throughout his career for Gary Siaka, multiple New York bred stakes winner, and he's another one dropping out of the Excelsior where A, he was just in too tough, B, he had to go pretty fast in the early portion of that race as well. I'm just not sure about the 7, if he has sprint speed to step with the 3 or the 4 if they decide to go. I think he has more middle distance speed, but he has races that if he can get back to, he can threaten at a price.
Yeah, I think all those things are true. I couldn't really convince myself that he has enough sprint speed, and I do think at this stage of his career, he's a need-to-lead type, and if he gets outrun to the front, it's going to make things really hard on him. He's a really nice horse. He's got back races. If they just decide, you know what, we need to put him on the lead, Dylan Davis comes out of there riding and he makes the front, this is a dangerous horse.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Thursday's DRFBets race of the day. Awesome Saturday, lots of angles going on for John Kimmel, third off the layoff, turf to dirt, and getting some significant class relief in against legitimate stakes horses in his last 2 on turf. Inspector Lindley, Ticonderoga. His most recent dirt race came way back in June at Churchill Downs. He was in against Warriors Club, who came back to run second in the Grade 1 Vanderbilt with a 100 buyer. And the last time this horse went turf to dirt and route to sprint, he ran a big third in the Commonwealth at Keeneland despite being very wide every step of the way.
Yeah, I thought he ran great in that race. His 2 starts after that, you know, they weren't quite as good, but that Kelly's Landing last June, I mean, there was just no pace in that race at all. I didn't think he had any chance. Long layoff after that. I think his 2 turf races on the way back have been fine. He can run on turf, so it's not that surprising. But it's nice to know that he can still run. And now, as you mentioned, you know, I hate angles because that's the kind of stuff that people will just bet, you know, turf to dirt and turning back and third off the layoff, all that stuff. If that leads them getting bet, I don't like him. But if he's around the morning line, I could take this horse. He hasn't faced non-stakes horses on dirt since June of 2017. He won that day. I think this is the right spot for this horse, and he's got the back races to be really tough.
And if the pace is just a little bit faster than what Timeform US projects, I think this horse will be running very strongly late. I'll have to use him in any kind of wagers. Give me numbers.
Yeah, I'm going to use the 7, obviously. I'm going to also use Bon Raison. I think he just fits this race really well. And I'm not against Sir Valentine as the favorite. I wouldn't bet him as the favorite, but I would use him.
I'm going to go 3, 4, 7, and 2, keying on the 3, 4, 7 in multiple race wagers. Sir Valentine for me is an underneath in single race exotics because I am very worried about the pace scenario if he is going to be coming from last. California Night, I'm hoping can dissuade, hit it once more from getting to the early lead. Maybe can set a controlled pace and hold on at a decent price, 6 to 1 on the morning line. Again, 3, 4, 7, 2 for me. And Thursday's DRFBets race of the day. Bet it with your DRFBets account. Pick one horse, bet it. Bet $7 to win on that horse. With DRFBets, if your selection finishes second or third, you get your money back. Promos.drf.com is where you go for all the details. Approximate post time for the 8th at Belmont on Thursday, 5:18 Eastern. Best of luck.